and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. With 4 race starts, we're going to start with our category 4 riders, then 3, 2 and 1. Our riders lined up in yellow, that is our category 1 riders, in green our category 2, in blue category 3 and category 4 in red.
Well, it was 2% at the bottom.
Yeah, for about half a second.
Well, you know, it gently kicked off.
Gently. 4 fractions of a second, then it is bang, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, straight into this, and already that graded at 9%. The leaders on the road, well, it is going to be Henrik van der Zandt, who is leading out. He's at 9.1k. He has got a fractional gap, 1 second on SS. This course should suit him. It is a big ascent. It's a long climb, and we know it goes well when it goes uphill. If we thought the leading groups were big in categories 4 and 3, that's nothing as compared with the massive road train that is making its way up in category 2. Dan again really pushing at the front with Simmons, with Krasnich.
Loves to take a challenge, does X100, and Olivier Simmons has given him that challenge. Right, you get back up here and you work with me. We work together to try and go away from the group. Right, that signal comes again. Come on, it's your turn. X100 trying to come through to work with Simmons. The gap now at 4 seconds. If these two work together, they have to work together if they want to go past. They've just gone past the chase group in the category 2 race.
They are absolutely flying. They're on fire today, and they are lighting up the road, up the climb. Polka dot skin suits making the way up the climb.
The fastest climber in the category 3 and the fastest climber in category 4 currently together on the flat section. Jason Osborne started 20 minutes behind SS and 15 minutes behind Nalbati. And within 24 kilometres of racing, he has caught them, and he is shortly about to be on their way.
36.8k covered for Jason Osborne, your race leader. The riders in second and third, as lined up with Justin Say, Safra Zaidi, they are currently at 35k, 34.5k, only 500 metres behind Stefan van Elst. And then you can see now, basically the lead in category 3, still right in the mix.
This was the endurance climb for qualifier race 2 on the Sunday Race Club here in August 2024. MyWhoosh, the UCI partner for the next 3 years. And it's Jason Osborne who takes the win today. He takes the win in category 1 on the Sunday Race Club.
Madame, messieurs, bonjour, ravi de vous retrouver sur MyWhoosh pour ce Sunday Race Club catégorie au départ, la catégorie 4 en rouge, les bleus de la catégorie 3, la catégorie 2 en vert et bien sûr la catégorie 1 en jaune avec les rouges qui vont ouvrir le bal. 45 km avec 2138 mètres de dénivelé. On repasse dans la catégorie 1. On est avec Siebe de Weert. Siebe de Weert, eh bien, qu'on avait découvert en Belgique, notamment sur le Tour de Namur. Ah, Mister Xan. Ah bah finalement, pas de changement dans son comportement. Ah non, Mister Xan. Ça reste Mister Xan, voyez-vous. Peu importe le profil, lui, il s'en fout. Il envoie des cartouches dans le but de vraiment achever ses adversaires. Et Jason Osborne qui a encore creusé l'écart par rapport à Knudsen et Safarzade. Il a maintenant 20 secondes d'avance. C'est un véritable TGV là. Et on va avoir une image incroyable, je crois, sur la plateforme. On va se retrouver l'espace d'un instant avec 3 maillots à poids en tête d'un Sunday Race Club. Jason hors norme tout simplement aujourd'hui pour un succès de prestige sur ce Sunday Race Club. Voilà qui est fait. Jason Osborne qui s'impose en surclassement.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. مشاهدينا الكرام، متابعينا في كل مكان، أهلا وسهلا بكم مع الانطلاقات الأربعة والفئات الأربعة. الفئة باللون الأحمر، الفئة الرابعة والفئة الثالثة بالأزرق، والفئة الثانية باللون الأخضر، والأولى باللون الأصفر. اليوم من هو مختص في صعود المرتفعات. هذا هو اليوم الذي بإمكانه أن يصل إلى المستوى المطلوب وتحقيق النتيجة. ينافس بشكل جيد الآن في الصورة، مستويات عالية هنا كما نشاهد الآن. هل تستمر حتى النهاية؟ من هو البطل يا ترى؟ في نهاية هذا اليوم الصعب الطويل. نسبة الانحدار لا توجد، الجميع في نسبة انحدار عالية، كل صعود ما في نزول. شوف الوضع الآن، شوف الصعوبة، 8.9% يا محمد. وضع صعب والله، أنني أشعر الآن أنا تعبت. مستر إكس أندرت يلتحق، نعم برافو، فعلها النجم الإماراتي، يعود ويلتحق الآن بالكوكبة المتقدمة من الفئة الثانية.
ويقوم أتاك الآن اللاعب مستر إكساندر، يعود بعملية أتاك ويحاول للابتعاد عن باقي اللاعبين عند الكيلو 36 و900 متر. سعيد صفر مع ليونيل فيجسون والتعاون بين اللاعبين لعدم السماح لستيفن فال إست بالوصول إليهم.
يا له من يوم، يا لها من منافسة. 45 كيلو متر في ساعة و40، معدل السرعة لا يتعدى 20 أو 25. نعم، لأن بالفعل الصعوبة الآن سرعة 16 ويصل إلى الخط النهاية. جيسون أوسبورن.
So hello and welcome to the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. It's qualifier race number 3 in August. It's our final qualifier of the month. Before we move into our finals, my name's Matt Payne. I'm here in the studio with
Emma Martin.
The one and only Emma Martin on the other side of the studio, in throwing distance, if not close enough to catch any draft as I try and make my way through this without being able to get caught. However, that's not going to happen because Emma knows all the stats for all the routes wherever they are in the world. Big title. Let's see if she can back it up. Alula Heritage Climb. Take us through it, Emma.
Can always back it up. Well, the men today are in Alula on the Heritage Climb. 45 kilometres of racing, 708 metres of climbing. And today, that is the course in front of them. So 4 sprint segments of 300 metres along the way. And then at 16.3 kilometres, they hit the Heritage Climb. It's 5.8 kilometres in length with an average gradient of 5.7%, categorised as a Category 2 climb. Then it is a technical descent down into the canyon at Oasis climb. They then come through the cliff sprint. This is really technical terrain. They then descend in to the Nabatean cave climb, and then it is a flat finish of 1.2 kilometres to the checkered flag. It is a fast and furious race, and we've seen some phenomenal times since this course was first introduced in December for Qualifier 1 in 2023.
Well, who will be setting the fastest time? It could be any one of our riders in Category 1. But we have 4 categories, as always, now on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 1 in yellow, 2 in green, Category 3 in blue, and Category 4 in red will be the first set of riders up and racing. We have racing for us. We have our teams. We've got the Al Wathba QTR Pro Cup 4 squad. Simon Cox going to be heading them up. Level Up Racing going to be taken out by West Fielder, Leroy and Warren. 5 riders on the start line for them. We've got the Anzacs represented by McMurtry, Cridland and Connell. So 3 riders from the Anzacs team. Upcycled have Lloyd and Mayard in here as well. I think we're going to have Brito, one of our regular Level Avengers as well. The Level Up's got with the strength in depth, Alex West, Alexander Fielder, with Ben Lee, with Justin Wright and Ola Warren. They are the riders in the teams, but this is a big field, and we'll run you through all of the runs and races, or at least the key ones. Once we've got our riders away, off we go. First riders away in the first of our 4 race starts here on Qualifier Race number 3 on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. Category 4, known for fast starts out from the gun. Let's see if that's going to be the case today. And don't forget, of course, that we have the new 3.8.0 update. If you want more details, jump onto YouTube, have a watch of the videos. 10 minutes, 33 seconds of absolute gold on that video because it tells you so much detail. And you can see one of the new updates on there, the bike in action up on the front there. You can see also the neon wheel set coming in on the riders' bikes as well. All part of that update. And just as importantly, if not more so than the aesthetics, It is the dynamics, and they have changed. So they have been tweaked and improved, and I can't wait to see what the feedback is, because there's going to be lots of riders maybe riding on the new dynamics, certainly racing on it for the first time.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to hear what our Sunday Race Club riders think. Well, what they think at the moment is that this is a strong pace on the front of this, because SS is not on the front. It is pushing on here with Tortoretto, Maillard, Lenorda, SS, Van der Vries, Dadson, Bogren, Gonzalez are all up there pushing on hard. Well, SS now on the front of the pack. The pack of Category 4 racers, 44 in total on the start sheets today. Zimmel, who was 5th last week, Rusinek was 4th, SS took top spot. Some great racing and riding last week. We were out on the endurance climb, a very different course today, the Alula Heritage Climb, significantly less climbing than our riders raced last week. SS took the win last week in 2 hours and 17 minutes. At least about an hour quicker, I reckon, today.
Okay, well, I think our riders deserve maybe a shorter day today, and we'll see how short for some, how long for others. At the moment, though, you just see that gap is opening up on the left of your screen. 2 riders already distanced from the lead group. That radar view, it gives you the distance, it gives you the meters ascended, gives you the kilometers per hour, and it gives you a view of the riders, each rider represented by a disc. If you see more than one disc piled on top of each other, it usually means it's a big group, and that's what we've got at the front of this pack. Leonardo in here, Warren, Cadabono, Medeiros, Tortoretto, some real regulars in here. In terms of our race field, yes, yesterday, feels like yesterday, last week on the Epic Climb, we did see some familiar names and some different names as well. So if we look at the previous racing, I mean, Ola Warren, one of our regular riders on the Sunday Race Club, in action, he's just on our screens at the moment. Warren is a rider who we can expect to be there or thereabouts.
Yes, he is a strong rider. He wasn't in the top 5 last week, but strong riding always from him and that squad, Level Up Racing. So Westfielder, Lee, Roy and Warren, all part and parcel of the Level Up Racing squad. You know, there's some great riders in this Category 4 race field, and we see them week in, week out.
So we'll see how they're going on the way through. Jonathan Cridland in here. Nice casquette, sir. Another one of the riders wearing a cap. Very handy for keeping the sweat out of your eyes and stop you from getting a cold. So definitely, it's almost. I'm my co-host. For those of you who were here for the Epic, you will know that Emma was trying to battle her way through last week. She's doing the same this week, slightly better. This week, so expect to hear.
Thank you very much.
Marcia, well,
I do still have a cold. You are quite correct.
It's not obvious at all, honest, by the mountains of
Let's move on.
Tree.
Anyway,
Okay.
Let's just have a little chat, shall we, about the results from last week?
Tell us about
very,
last
very
week and
quickly.
the week before as well, because last week was almost an anomaly.
It was, because it was absolutely fantastic, and the racing in Category 3 was also superb, with now Batty taking the win, moving into Category 2 this week. Very deserved.
And he's joining Wayne Smythe of the Draft Racing Squad, Level Racing's squad. We've got Ben Kirk and Luke Allport, as always, in X-Pro, represented by Dorvan Ellos. Now, Felipe Marin for X-Pro and Francis Pino in the X-Pro team. Remember our teams this week. Well, it's good to get that training in, but it's not key for prizes. That comes in next week in our finals. Category 3, the second category, are good to go. It's time to hit the race route to head out onto course here in Qualifier race number 3. Now, we talked about strong riders and race results. In Category 3, the race results, they do vary a little bit from week to week. And last week was almost an anomaly, wasn't it? Because it was so big, the Epic Climb.
The Epic Climb was phenomenal. And, Batty took the win in 2 hours and 6 minutes in this category. Great racing. 3 minutes 25 seconds between the top 5 in category 3. So Beatty has indeed progressed to category 2. So is Galuska, who was 3rd on the climb. Angarita Ray's not here today. He took 2nd in category 3. Kansara and Kochkov staying in category 3. They are on the start sheets today, along with 43 other riders. So Svart and Allport, the 2 riders out front. Kirk pushing on as well with Kansara. Now, Allport last week, what an epic. He rode all 3 open public qualifiers for the World Championships.
And
then
qualified in the end.
He
The
did
last
qualify
one.
in category 3. And then he rode the endurance climb as well. What a week of riding and racing for him. He must be exhausted, or has he recovered?
I'm hoping he's recovered, although that's going to take a big effort. He's out of the saddle, doing an all-port. This is a trademark move from Category 4. Now transferred to Category 3, going on the front and making it hard from the word go. So Luke Allport on the left-hand side with Eben Schwartz of South Africa. Really looking strong at the moment. We're just going to keep an eye on those 2. But back in with the riders in category 4. Ola Warren just up the road being chased here. Simon Cox and Chrysono Walanos on the way through. Just taking a look at SS here. He's also in touching distance. And because of where this sprint is, we've got 2 little bumps that come after this. It is a sprint that could generate an attack off the front.
Yes, the Artist Alley sprint is the first sprint of the day here on this course at 4.3 kilometres. And it's a fairly flat, it's a gently rolling 16.3 kilometre start to this race with the 3 sprints along the way. Some small bumps, I'm going to call them small bumps, along that. But Cox really pushing on through that sprint. 8.9 watts per kilo average over for that 300 metre effort. Really pushing on at the front of that category 4 race and stretching the group. And you can see Ola Warren and Cox now 4 seconds clear, making the most of that effort, making the most of the sprint and continuing. Spratt, well, he's on a charge, in category 3.
He is on a bit of a move here. He caught up to Allport and Schwartz, who were going through. He's gone over the top. And at the moment, they're already, looks like they're catching Matt Smithson, who's in category 4, who's been distanced off there. You just see those neon wheels in action. But the category 3 riders absolutely motoring this morning.
They are.
On a move, on an Allport, motoring their way in through. Now, it's 5 minutes between categories 4 and 3 at their race start. It's 10 minutes between category 3 and 2 on their race start. So a little bit of a bigger gap before we go back to our 5-minute interval between category 2 and 1. You can see the clock ticking. 6 minutes to category 2 start, just about 11 minutes to category 1 race start. It does give our riders in categories 3 and 4 a head start. That doesn't mean, though, that they always get to the finish first. Great racing in category 3 and in category 4. Now, when we first came to Alula Heritage Climb, and I'm going to reference back to something in the women's race here, we were on a brand new course for our women's race.
Yes,
in California.
It
was the first time we raced there. Brand new race route, brand new parkour, brand new terrain and profile. That showed in there almost a
more hesitant type of racing early on.
I was going to use the word conservative. They've been careful with the energy they expended early. Now, in the first time we came here to Alula, we saw that same thing. We didn't see really much action until we got to 16.3k and the Heritage Climb. With each return visit,
we've got faster.
We got faster. Not necessarily, I think, because we've covered the Heritage Climb, the Canyon Oasis, and the Navan race climb at the end of the race route quicker, but because we've covered the first 16k quicker, because there's been more aggression. And I mean, if you look at the screen now, 4 distinct sets of riders in category 4, big breaks and gaps in category 3 as well. We are seeing a much more aggressive race from the word go, because people know how much energy they need at the end.
Let me give you some stats.
Oh, go on then.
So when we first came here, the first race in December, Qualifier 1 in 2023, the win in Category 1 was taken by Vink in 1 hour 11 minutes. In Category 4, it was Ola Warren in 1 hour 26. Steady. They were looking at the course, having a bit of a go. The second race time we were here was qualifier 1 in February. Vujasin took the win in 1:06, 5 minutes quicker. And in category 4, Connell took the win 1 hour 20 minutes, 6 minutes quicker. So all categories raced quicker the second time we were here. And then those times have been pretty consistent. The racing times are around 1:06, 1:07 for the win in category 1, and likewise around 1:20 in category 4. So we had a conservative first race and more punchy seconds from then on.
Okay, well, let's see if this is going to be nearer the second. I suspect it will be. One reason for that, Ola Warren down the road in category 4. We just saw SS on the chase behind. Meanwhile, coming in to the sprint is 4.3k covered. The entrance to the Artist Alley sprint. And as you can see, we have Schwarzbrat up at the front here, behind the chasing pack, behind this group of riders. Well, they're at 10 seconds at the moment to the chasing pack, the main bulk of the peloton. So escapees up the road at the moment as they go through that sprint. But at the moment, the pursuit behind is not what you would call engaged.
I was just looking at, well, the riders on the front. John Wakefield was just on the front of the group, and he came to the front of the chase group and went, woo, and went down to 1 watt per kilo. No, thank you, not for me. I'm not leading the charge. John Wakefield's still back on the front of that chase group, and actually Nicole Kansara now picking up the pace. So's Peter Connell, 6 watts per kilo on the chase. They are closing it down. But look at the damage on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. You can see the damage. We've got the leaders in category 3. We've got a chase group. Then we've got the main bunch, and then we've got a rider off the back. So this really causing havoc in the category 3 race field.
And that increase in watts due to that bump that we just went over. So you just see the riders, the course profile top right hand side of each of these screens shows exactly what these riders are facing as they go up over the top of each bump. You'll see the power as they go up the gradient increasing as they're trying to maintain the pace, and that has allowed the riders in category 3 at 5.2k to close down on the leaders somewhat with 8 minutes of racing complete. You can see that in category 4, we still got Simon Cox and Ola Warren away at the front. Remember, Warren has won. He took the debut win when we were here in category 4, the first time we came to the Alula Heritage Climb course, as we came back into and started using this world again. It's one of our very earliest worlds, but it is absolutely transformed, not just by the desert coming into bloom, but also by the quality of the graphics, the speed, the pace, and the detail that you get when you come here, whether you're riding or racing on the Alula race route and in the Alula world. And don't forget, you can jump on the new update, lets you see who is in each world, how many riders are there, and just as importantly, how many riders are on each event. So do jump on board. You can find company. If you want to have a world all to yourself, if you want to do an all port off the front of your own little world, you can do so. If you want to join a group of escapees, if you want to join in with company, then you can do that, and all that on the new update. Make sure you have a watch of that. Now, we are 1 minute to go to the start of category 2. Category 3, though, are trying to stay clear of everybody else as they keep on accelerating up. We'll come back to them very shortly, but let's get category 2 underway. Now, Wathbar QTR team, the Qatar team, we have our Afrai, Nuki, and Al Case in the mix for them. The MyWhoosh Werewolves, 4 riders, Team Grace, Walter, and Koistonen in there. We have got the Beastman powered by Rosa Federico. We've got Beaver the Ghost, Rimbo for Level Racing, the UAE clan team represented by Mr. X100 and Pablo Popovich. Very strong squad there. The UAE Falcons, Ahmed Al Tanaji, as well as Zaid Hamdan. The What's Up squad, well, they have got Carvajal, Kowalski, and Clays. They're going to be in action. It is the second of our race fields. They are up, they are away, they are off. And at the moment, looking very, very much like this is a huge pack that have taken to the start. It was the largest group on our start sheet, Emma.
It was indeed. 59 riders in category 2 on our start sheets today. Heaney, Downey, Cahan, Winfield, Holweiler, Goodall, Krasnich, Harvey, Brune, Oviedo, Leclerc, Power, Gates, Kalman, Van Hees, Squilari, Von Harin, Batty, Simmons, Kirchner, Fawcett, Carradine, Hoyas, Patterson, all in the mix, all up and ready to race, as well as Al Refray. Well, the chairs are empty in the background. They may well be full later because he may well have company in the room. He's got company on the bike. Take a look, mid-pack. Big stretch already.
So Ibrahim Al-Refray, just see the coffee machine in the background there. I'm sure he's been having a few of those to get himself all fired up, ready to go. Part of that Al Waspa QTR squad, a rider who is riding very strongly in the Gulf Corporation Council Championship, the stage race, 5-day stage race on MyWhoosh. You can watch all the footage from that back on the MyWhoosh YouTube channel. Please do subscribe, like. If you've done it already, thank you very much. Your job now, tell somebody else. So tell them, get them subscribing and notified. You get told when we have new videos, when there's updates, find all the detail, get the details. Don't just rely on rumor and social media. Get on to that YouTube channel and make sure that you get on there.
I'm just looking at Al Refray there. It looks like he's in a hotel conference room.
That might be his dining room.
Could be anywhere.
It could be. It could be.
I just like the idea that, you know, people race the Sunday Race Cup from anywhere.
Right. Shall we go to another theme? If you are racing anywhere out in the world, wherever you are, send at biking_Emma on Instagram. Just go onto Instagram, follow at biking_Emma, and take a picture of your pain cave, your place of riding, and send it across. Tag in at MyWhoosh as well. Zach Carradine, one of our regular riders. We do get to see him on screen regularly. And looks like he is all ready to roll. Let's just keep our eye on him. And you can see him in real life, and we see him on the screen. So Sad Carradine, you can see him. He's still looking smooth. I was just comparing his riding style to his avatar's riding style here on the MyWhoosh race. So good to see Sad in action again. A course that suits him with its multiple climbs towards the end of that race route. He's in category 2. We've got 2, 3, and 4 already up and riding. Those groups separated on the road at the moment by 9.9k. 2k covered for category 2, 9k covered for category 3 leaders, and the leaders in category 4, that big pack of riders, they're at 12 kilometers. Category 1 are our last group of riders to start. They're down on the start line. They are at 1 minute 40 to count down. So we're going to have a little jump in. Ivan Nuki, one of our regular riders, riding from the Abu Dhabi Cycling Club. Hopefully we'll get to say hello to him if we see him at the World Championships coming, of course, from Abu Dhabi, the eSports, the cycling World Championships going to be in Abu Dhabi. That is in October. Don't forget, we've got semi-finals coming up in September, the beginning of September. I'm really looking forward to those. We'll be seeing a lot of the riders from our race club. And, of course, in Category 1 there, riders who we expect to see, well, they're definitely in our 2 teams here. The Hard to Guard team, Jason Osborne winner last week. Michael Knudsen right up there in the top positions, as was Cesar Frazedi and Stefan Van Els. Hard to guard, hard to beat, that's for sure. We've got the Alpha Jaw squad, Lana Vajasin, Michael Kaminsky, and Ollie Jones. 3 very tough riders from that Coalition Alpha Jaw squad. However, can they beat the rest of the race field? It's a huge race field. David Talbot's been riding strong. Ewan Mackey particularly strong last week. Got lots of new riders joining us as well. So you've got to keep an eye out for some of our newer riders. People like Save Deved. He's going to be interesting to see how he goes. Todd Allen Young in there. Thomas Perrin, another rider to watch out for. But we're in with Michael Knudsen, a resurgent Michael Knudsen. The Dane ready to go. The Category 1 race field, the last race field to leave the pens here on qualifier race number 3, the final qualifier for August on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club. We are go 45 kilometers, 707 meters of ascent, 3 categorized climbs, 4 sprints en route to our race finish. Who will be at the finish? This is traditionally a race route that will break initially on the Heritage Climb, that there will be a hard chase on the descent. The Canyon Oasis climb will separate anybody who hasn't recovered from the first climb, and it is continually bumpy all the way into that final Nabatean cave climb, where regularly hearts are broken, and we see solo riders then having a last run to the line, a 1.2k run to the finishing line in solo glory. Will that be the case today? Will we see riders like Mr. X100, known for pushing a long way out and being able to put a good pace in? Will he be the rider who's going to take this away? He'll know this course inside out. We've been on the Nabatean cave climb before. We're going to be on it again at the end of the race as these riders make their way in towards the sprint. So at the moment, the riders are just in action. Let's see them in to that sprint here. Going to be heading in as we see an attack on the front of Category 1. So Category 1 at the moment, Michael Kaminsky on the move. Knudsen chasing him. That sudden kick just over. I mean, that was a slightest of rises. And again, as we see regularly, because it is realistic. There's no fake speed here on MyWhoosh. I can't do 50 kilometers an hour on the flat, out on the roads around here, and I certainly can't do it on the platform here without having the assistance, I think, probably of a motorbike or maybe stealing the legs of these riders as they go underneath the Elephant Rock. That group just reforming. So in with Michael Kaminsky there, the man who was stirring things up. And are we going to see him? I don't think the race route. We had the endurance climb.
We did.
And Michael Kaminsky was not really in the thick of it.
I think Michael Kaminsky is focusing at the moment 125,000% on the MyWhoosh World Championship semi-finals in September, and I think that is his goal. And the Sunday Race Club, he's up, he's riding, he's racing, and he is working for his team, but it's not his focus.
I would counter that slightly. I think Sunday Race Club is his focus because I think it is great training to race on here for the World Championships, but maybe not for the endurance climb, because training across a 2-hour race is not necessarily the best for a race format like the World Championships. But racing on the Sunday Race Club with those hard, sharp efforts that we see in individual sectors, I think is great.
Well, yes, and I wonder whether actually him going off the front and our riders, we're seeing very aggressive riding, because riders are very, very focused on what they need to do to qualify in the Worlds, and a large number of these riders in Category 1 and Category 2, as well as some Category 3 riders, will be in that semi-final. And they'll have a focus, they'll have a plan, and they'll be delivering those plans during the Sunday Race Club.
Well, let's see if they're going to be. I know it looked like Che Hawala very focused on staying in with Category 2 that we saw on your screens just a while ago. Emma, Category 1, we're just having a watch of all of our riders. In Category 1, we've got a few new riders. There are a few riders of note in there, isn't there?
There are. So Category 1, we do indeed. 37 riders on the start sheets in Category 1 today. And alongside Alpha Jor and Hard to Guard, we've got a whole range of riders. So Ewan Mackey is here. Jeffrey Miller is here, the French esports champion, member of the International Bike Fitting Institute as well. Hayden Pucker finished 5th place last week. Mikhail Shuran from Czechia. He was 4th in the Czech Road Race Championships this year and won the mountain classification in the Czech Tour in July.
Okay, so he's a rider from Czechia. Czechia, of course, home to Nova Mesto mountain bike, to Tabor for the cyclocross world champion. He's got the rich heritage of riding. So we regularly see riders from Czechia doing well. One man who we also see doing really, really well here, Sai Safrasedi, looking very, very good. And it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on the climb at the end of this, because he's a rider who we expect to see when the racing is tough. And I would say this is a tough course for a tough rider. Mohamed Al-Qais, another absolute class, rider you know, a rider who, when the going gets tough, he's the sort of rider who comes to the fore.
Well, you know, and Al Casey's background is in Ironman triathlon. You know, and interestingly, a number of our riders' background is in triathlon, and they're coming into the Sunday Race Cup. They're coming into esports and specialising in cycling, transitioning from where they are. SS and Category 4, Racefield, Russinet, Crisland, Cox, Callangad, all in that lead group on the right-hand side of your screen. 16.8 kilometres into the race. They are on the Heritage Climb. The first pack of riders out of the start pen, the first pack of riders on to the climb today, the Heritage Climb on the right hand side of your screen. On the left hand side of your screen, well, it was Category 2, they're now on the top right above Category 4. So Category 1 at 4.2 kilometres, Category 2 7.8 kilometres, Category 3 14.6 kilometres. And I tell you something, that lead group pushed on early on in Category 3 and they're still clear. Category 4 are well and truly on the Heritage Climb now. You can see them up and out of their saddles, putting in that climbing effort at 17 kilometres into this 45-kilometre race.
So our riders up and away, say Sefrazadi, just the rider we're focusing on in Category 1 as we go through the 4.6 kilometre marker. And at the moment, just under 7 minutes of racing to be underneath the wheels. The time is ticking along nicely. 4.8k covered at the moment. So this pack, it's a strong pack, but I am looking at that thinking there's one rider down the road here who's gone clear in Category 1 away from the riders, and although on a breakaway has not challenged the top 10 on the sprint times.
Well, interesting, isn't it? That Artist Alley sprint. Cox, Kirk, Gonsolin, Kreisnos, Spratt, Simmons, Allport, Matheson, Svart and Wakefield. Category 4, Category 3 and Category 2. No Category 1 riders in sight.
They're not, and I think that is indicative of the way the racing has played out. Remember, our sprints basically are 4 points. The points, so you get 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 points. On the sprint segment, the rider with the most points accumulated has the green skin suit. We have points for the climbs as well, and the same thing applies. Those points added up together give us the wearer of the polka dot skin suit. Now, Ibrahim Al-Rafai, the rider we're in with once again here in Category 2 as they take the right-hand turn here. We're at 9.4k, and at 9.4, we are running in towards the Al Diwan Sprint. After the Al Diwan Sprint is a kicker of a hill. It's not massive in terms of scale compared to the rest of the race route, but it's enough to put in an attack, and this is where we may well see a rider go clear.
Well, talking about a rider go clear, Cam Winfield pushing on the front here on the run into the climb. Winfield returning from racing in Italy, back onto the Sunday Race Cup. So Cam Winfield absolutely winding it up here now. The question is, was he winding it up for the sprint, or is he going to continue? He continues, he digs deep, and he keeps going after the sprint section. Fantastic technique and tactic here. We see it done time and time again. Challenge the group, make them think you're going for the sprint, keep going afterwards, and then you sit back and see what gap you've established.
And you don't want to sit back too much, because we are seeing a climb coming up after it. So they threw the sprint and onto the climb immediately, which means that will be decisive. It's a way to make it that race harder for longer. Now, this is the Category 1 bunch. We've still got at least one rider, I think, clear of this group at the front of the racing Category 1, according to our radar screen. Just trying to work out who that is. I think
it's Lyndon Milostic.
It is. Look at that. Now, Lyndon Milostic had disappeared off through the sprint with the fastest sprint time on the attack, and he's gone clear 16 seconds at this point, at this junction, at 7k. doomed to
Do
failure?
you know, well, he's done this before. So let's just give our viewers a little bit of history. Lyndon came up from Category 2, one of our young riders, and in fact was picked to represent Australia at the Esports World Championships this year, but doesn't meet the age qualifying criteria because he's still only 17.
Oh, no.
So he's been racing Category 2 and racing Category 2 really strongly, and over the last few weeks has moved to Category 1. And he's not rested on his laurels and thought, let me sit in the pack, see how long I can last. He's basically gone, right, I'm here. Let me show them I'm here. I'm young, I'm keen, I really want to learn. And the only way I'm going to learn is by taking the racing to you. And he has been doing it.
And it is the way. It's no good just, sitting in and resting on your laurels, as you said, isn't it? It is about progressing, improving. 4 categories to go out, starting Category 4 potentially, and move right through to Category 1. And we've seen riders move from 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. That progression, that improvement, partly due to training, using the training programs on MyWhoosh. There are hundreds and hundreds.
720.
720. Thank you. I knew it was over
I
700.
have looked at every single one of them.
You big fibber.
I have.
You have never looked at all 700.
I have.
All 720.
Yes, I have been through every single page on the workout document.
Well, at least you haven't said.
It's interesting. Yeah, there's a huge amount of variety there, and you know something for everybody.
Well, make sure you jump on with 720. If there isn't one there that meets your requirements, do ask Emma which is nearest, because being encyclopedic with all that kind of knowledge on his gov, we will find out. Now, in with Yunsei Honda at the moment, our Japanese rider in the pack here, one of our strong riders. We saw him racing really well last week. We're going to see if he can excel on the course here this week. The riders up and away, and gotta say, if you do want to jump on board, download the app. It's available. The new launch is the 3.8.0, so you can download it on iOS, on Windows, on Android. You can use your phone if you're in the middle of nowhere. You can run it from your smart trainer onto that. You can link it up to a satellite dish. You can have the world's best gaming PC and put on the HD version and have all of those graphics. We're lucky enough in our studios here to have enough machines to have a spare one to run on the HD and get the full technical version of Luke Allport in action.
Yeah, 5 riders now in this Category 2 race, including Allport in this leading group. Now 20 plus seconds clear of the chase group. This is an amazing piece of work from this leading 5 in Category 3. They're 18 kilometres now. They're well and truly on the climb, and you can see the gradient of that climb that they are on the top right-hand corner of your screen. While Category 1, the gradient is flat at the moment, and Millerstick is time trialling away from the leading group. He's picked his pace, and he is just holding it. Jason Osborne on the front of the group behind, 29 seconds behind.
Come on, Lyndon. This is what we want to see. We want to see people on the attack. I absolutely love aggressive racing. I love people who are prepared to have a go. Well, this is what we're seeing from Lyndon Millerstick. Lyndon, one of our young riders, on the move, on the attack. He's taking it to them. Don't worry about their reputations, mate. You may have Olympic medalists behind you. You may have some of the best riders in the world. Doesn't matter. Do what you do. Get out there, give it some beans, make them suffer early, make them suffer hard. They're going to know the name. You're on your way.
I'll tell you something.
And that is what we want to see.
He's already training for the World Championships 2025 when he will meet the age category criteria.
Oh, that would
just
be
imagine how good he's going to be in 12 months' time.
I'm not encouraging gambling in any way, shape, or form with this. But if you were a gambling person, that would be a smart outside bet, wouldn't it? Because let's face it, he's already up there and racing with the best in the world, and he's still got a year to go before he's allowed to race in the World Championships, and he's already training for it.
Well, he's in the junior race category at the moment. He's not even an under 23.
Not an espoir.
He's not. But could you imagine who must have their eyes on him at the moment?
Yes, and I'm not going to speculate. Carry on.
Yes. Well,
I don't want
Matt
to go.
speculates very quietly in the corner.
No, I'm not. I don't dare.
Jason Osborne absolutely in the pack here, but it's Ben Kirk saying the fastest time through the Al D1 sprint, 23.4 seconds in category 3. Simon Cox from Cat 2, very, very close behind, put 0.7 of a second. Nicholas von Haren, then category 2. Olivier Simmons, Van He and Winfield, another one of the young riders, from category 2, rounding out the top 6. Nicholas Spratt, then the rest of the riders through to the top 10.
Okay, so our race is well underway in categories 1, 2, 3, and 4. Category 1, left-hand side of your screen. 10K covered. A leading group, aggressive racing, making the way through. The group chasing our solo leader, but behind them there are also riders. Category 2, you can see the main bulk of riders right at the very front of the race, with riders being dispatched off the back. They are currently at 15K. 19K into the race route and on to the climb. Category 3, well on the way up. The first of our climbs, the heritage climb. Ahead of them, 1.5 kilometers, in fact, up the road. The leaders in category 4. Category 4 heading in and up. The summit of the climb is at 22.1k, some way down. Now, good to see Arnie Jacobs in action once again. Arnie, nice headband, mate. You got the wind blowing as well. I'm just jealous.
Well,
I've got hair jealousy.
Open.
Yeah, window open for sure.
Well, Jakob's part and parcel of the pack at the moment. The category 1 race field, calling himself down wherever he is in the world at the moment. Osborne, Kroll, Pucker, Perrin, Trojanowski, Quintero, all in the mix in this category 1 pack, and they're all chasing. Well, I was about to say they're all chasing. Look at that. Marcin Trojanowski absolutely putting the power down now. He's decided that Linda Milistic has been out there long enough. The gap's around 20 seconds. It's time to reel the young rider back.
Good luck. It's a big old gap. But if we see, sometimes this is counterproductive because you need to see a concerted chase. Not necessarily an attack and a response, and then a pause, and then an attack and a response. Because all the time that the pace is yo-yoing, we are seeing people like Lynn Milostic who sit at a steady pace. I mean, he's doing a Mr. X100 at the moment. He's sat there, he's gone long, he's sat at a pace he knows he can hold, and he's doing it, and he's going to keep on going.
Well, he could do indeed, and keep on going. I would do if I was him. I'd want to see how long I can stay out there. And he's still metronomic, you know, he's still sitting around that 5 watts per kilo margin. And the riders behind now need to think about what they are going to do. So the category 1 race field, Lyndon Milistic is the rider out front. He's 18 seconds clear of the chase behind. He's at 12.5 kilometers. He's still some 4k, 3.8k from the base of the climb, coming up to the Ghent City Sprint end banner. So he's underneath that final section now, and at 12.7k. This group of chasers not even into the sprint section yet. So he's still got around 450 meters clear at the moment down the road. So Panizza, Jones, Kaminsky, Knudsen, Bankston, Plantero, Honda, all in this chase group. So's Josh Wilson and Joshua Harris, the 2 Australian riders in the mix. But it's Simon Cox yet again from category 4, setting the fastest time in the sprint.
So Mr. Cox on the attack, the Al Wathba Qatari team, represented by Cox, putting in those digs. But look at that, 6th down, yellow jerseys coming in. It's a clear indication that the pace is being put in to category 1, that the chase is now starting to pick up. It's not a run for the line. If the category 1 were sprinting, we would see them up at the top because they are the best riders in the world. But we will see how far they can go in terms of a pursuit, and will they bring him all the way back? Because there is an argument, isn't there, that to stop other attacks going, you leave an attacker out there.
Yes. And, well, you could do that indeed. We're now in with Henry Yeast just off the back now. Look at that. That's the group up ahead. That's the group in front. He's chasing at the moment and desperately trying to come back to there. Montoya is on his wheel, and then there's a gap. So Yeast gapped in this Category 3 race.
And good to see Henry, one of our regular riders. It's been moved his way into Category 3, looking smooth at the moment. The man who lives in New Zealand and traded his career for building wood-framed houses. Absolutely. Had some great conversations with him about timber.
Ooh,
Timber-framed houses.
very nice.
That specialist subject occasionally.
Well, you know, our riders, we see them week in, week out in the Sunday Race Club. They all have lives behind the avatar, and a lot of them, all of them, exceptionally interesting ones.
No, not all of them. There's bound to be a boring one out there.
No, never.
Bound to be. It's
Nobody.
What I love is that we have a cross-section of humanity on MyWhoosh. It's not centered anywhere particularly in the world. It's all over the blooming place.
I know. You've got
absolutely love that.
riders from Norway, from Australia, from GB, from Abu Dhabi, from, Colombia. A huge number of Colombian riders as well on the Sunday Race Club, which I love.
Yeah, we have riders from pretty much every continent apart from Antarctica at the moment. And when we do,
anybody
please
on
let
a
us know.
research station wishes to have a turbo trainer and a bike and join us, that would be great.
Yeah, just let us know. So the riders on the climb, on the Heritage Climb, we're in with Mr. X100 at the moment in the middle of this pack, surrounded by Hammond of France in there. We've got Ospina in the mix, the Colombian Simmons in there, the Belgian Justin Koistinen, the Finnish rider in there as well, down from Germany, Krasnich in the mix, our Czechia riders just in front. It is a real mix of nations. I have a Nuki from Uganda,
Yep.
just on the climb at the moment. The Category 2
There
race
he is.
field really working hard, and look at the face
Look
of
at
Ivan
the gear
Nuki.
on that.
Come on, buddy. I tell you something, 60 revs per minute. Top center of your screen, you can see the cadence. That's the pedal revs per minute. 57 revs per minute, and he's just picking up. You can see he's out of the saddle there, kicking down, keeping that power down as he goes up. He's at 18.2 kilometers. He's got to get to 22.1 before we crest the summit of the Heritage Climb. Our riders, well, in Category 4, they're about to get there. SS is the man who's gone underneath the polka dot banner first, and you can see that after the polka dot banner, the climb continues. But at the moment, SS continuing his climbing prowess, showing his Charlie Gaulle style climbing climbing style at the moment on that fantastic Colnago with the neon wheels in there. If you want to know how to get them, jump on social media, jump on board the Facebook page, the MyWhoosh Indoor Cycling Facebook page, and you'll find out now. Great to see the camera helicopters keeping an eye on our riders. They just come dropping down. SS leading in Category 4. Big group of riders. Zanaska, Roy, West, Zimiel and Francis are behind. They're quickly being followed, though, by Dazan, Rustinek and Lee. I think they're going to continue to be followed by lots of riders. How far behind are the leaders in Category 3? Well, the answer is not very far. They are closing in on the leaders in Category 4, and we'll bring you news as soon as they get over so you can see the distances there. All 4 race fields up and racing. Category 4, the furthest along the road in terms of leaders at 23k, 16.2k covered for the leaders in Category 1, which means that the banner is coming up in front of them. In fact, here it comes, the polka dot banner that signifies the start of the Heritage Climb, the first categorized climb. It's a second cat climb. It's the biggest climb of the day. It comes almost perfectly midway into this route in terms of the summit at 22.1 for the part of the climb that is named. And in fact, it's almost 22.5 by the time you get into the downhill. And it shows you this is a key climb. Now, this climb is not simple. It's not one pace. You don't just time trial your way up.
No.
It yo-yos up and down. The gradient goes up, it goes down. It gets steeper on those descents. It swoops round. It's got lots of twists and turns. It's a great place to go for an escape as well.
It is indeed, because of its technical nature. It's also got a very technical downhill. So the assumption that a pack can catch one or two riders who might be off the front of the pack is not necessarily correct on this downhill. Many downhills with flats and uphill sections on it as well. It is so technical.
So the riders out on course, we've got riders in all 4 categories. And in category 2, Olivier Simmons, we just saw him out of the saddle just then. A regular rider at the front of the race. He is, for me, he typifies a rouleur.
Yes, he is a good all-rounder. And, we've got a number of great riders in this category 2 pack. We've got Bert Kane and Kaan Kane on the screen as well, the 2 Turkish brothers, both of them who have qualified through the open public pathway for the World Championship semi-final in September.
And great rouleurs. They are a rider who have got climb. They can climb, except for the very, very biggest climbs. They can sprint. And they can respond to changes in pace and repeatedly put in efforts.
Yeah, I think Burke, of the 2, for me, is the stronger sprinter. But I do think you're right. I do think they are all-round riders.
And that is, for me, I don't want to say the best rider, the most exciting rider, because they will have a go anywhere. I mean, look at Linda Milostic. He's gone clear. He stayed clear. So Janicki is behind him. A rider, we talk about riders who've moved up and improved.
He's also moved up.
Yeah, it's not all that long ago. He was out and racing in category 2, and he was then winning in category 2 when it got tough on a rouleur type course. Now he's a rider who's chasing Linda Milostic. Milostic leading on the climb still. That gap, 38 seconds to Van Elst. It's still substantial in category 1, isn't it?
And Martin Trojanski, I think, will come up onto the wheel of Milostic, and I think we'll have a 2-rider breakaway. Interestingly, they are now on the climb, and I was thinking the gap would start to come down, where Zach Nair and Jason Osborne are now leading the charge. It's 20 seconds. So perhaps we will start to see that gap close.
Now, we are going to give you a quick heads up here. Because the time gaps are real-time time gaps, they are not taken on a fixed point with the stopwatch started and then the stopwatch being switched off. They are basically a computation of speed and position on race route and distance. Because of that, dependent on whether the riders are on an uphill or a downhill, and the person that the gap is to is on an uphill or a downhill, and the speed that they're traveling is going to yo-yo. And on this climb particularly, of all the climbs, it will bounce out. It will bounce back. It will bounce out. It will bounce back. And it could well be that you see that the time gap doubled, then halved, then doubled, then halved, and just simply because of the change in terrain. And it makes it difficult as a racer to judge your time gap to the riders in front or behind as well. And that is what makes this a really technical course to ride, and particularly to race.
Well, I'll tell you one rider who's on really good form at the moment, and that's Stefan Van Elst. We've seen some fantastic performances off him over the last 4 or 5 weeks. He really, really is coming into form. He was 4th last week on the endurance climb. He was 2nd the week before on the Paso Alto. He was 3rd in the July final in California. He really, really is riding very, very strongly at the moment and really hitting the podiums.
Let's see if it's going to be a podium today. Will it be a podium? Will it be a top 5? Remember, top 5 riders in each of our race categories. Well, they are in line for our prizes. Prizes equal across the men's and the women's race fields. Who is going to be up there? All of our race fields really on it today. Now, in with category 2, Mr. X100. On the offensive, Ivan Nuki, who we saw him battling with in the Gulf Cooperation Council Stage Racer Championships, right up in attendance. But if you look at the left-hand side of your screen in conjunction with the main screen, there are green dots representing riders scattered across kilometres of hillside here on the Alula Heritage Climb.
Yeah, 59 riders were on the start sheets in category 2 today, and you can see Matt's right, they are scattered everywhere. Ivan Nuki, though, is not scattered anywhere. He's right at the front of the first peloton on the road. X100, Heaney, Winfield, Nicholas Hammond and Bert Kane are all there. So's Jonas Bjarhed. Now, Bjarhed is a superb climber. And when it comes to climbing from this pack, well, he's got to be one of the best.
And between now and the finish, there are 2 flat stretches of course, about 1.5k after the Canyon Oasis climb, which is the second of our climbs, and the last 1.2k. Bjarhead wants to use those climbing skills here on the climb. This top section of the climb, it is more straightforward. The second half of this climb will suit me, get into a rhythm. Morning, Jonas, giving us a wave there. I think it will be a morning in Sweden still as he goes up there. It might not be. In fact, it might just be afternoon because I think they're in CEST. So it'll be about 12:30 if he is in CEST time zone, which is the Central European Summertime area. We've got riders around the world, as we said. So wherever you are, morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. I'm sure there's a film with that as a catchphrase for the lead character. I'll let you work out which film. Please don't send me the answer, though, on at Matt
I
Victor
can
Pay.
confirm Stockholm in Sweden is on Central European time.
So about 12:30. Good afternoon, then. In that case, to Jonas, who's in there. Said Safasedi, definitely not on Central European Summertime.
Definitely not.
At the moment, but is in action once again. You can see the trophy cabinet behind him. Great picture on the wall there as well. At the moment, he's right in this group. You've got Pucker, you've got Safasedi, you've got Jones, Osborne, Van Elst, and Co. They are in action. They are in this group at the moment. We've got Sevdovit in here as well. And at the moment, they are looking like this is the group to be in category 1. In category 2, well, Mr. X100 is on the offensive. The leading group has fractured into 2 distinct groups. The second group behind, but Mr. X100 has left the front group, which you can just about see on your screens, and gone clear. So at the moment, opening up the gap, stretching his legs out here and looking smooth on that bike.
300 metres, 200 metres to the polka dot banner now for category 2 on the heritage climb. They are the next group of riders to see the top. There it is, swinging around the corner. X100 sees that banner first, but Heaney is on a charge from behind. So is Nuki. They are not going to let him go. Cam Winfield really, really in the mix. So is Jonas Bjarhead. We said they'd be up there, but Ken pushing, really coming through strongly. These riders working really, really well together. This is a good-sized lead group, nowhere near the 59 riders back in the start pen. The rest of the groups are scattered back down the mountain. But 9 riders, I can confirm 9 riders go over the top in category 2 together.
So Nuki with the fastest time, 14 minutes, 15 seconds going over the top. He's about 3/4 of a second, by the look of it, quicker than Bjarhead, but nothing to choose between those two. The only 2 riders sub 14 minutes, 16 seconds, but you look how close that is. Those riders going through at very similar times. Remember, the times on the top left-hand side of your screen are through the climb segment, so it doesn't take into account anything in terms of positioning on the road. That is just the time from the start banner to the finish banner. And of course, you've got to get over the top of the climb to drop down. Now, on to the climb. Osborne, Jones, Safrazadi in the mix with Nussen, with Pucker, Van Elst. This is the lead of the race. The escape E pulled back in. Now, we're just going to take a quick check back, but it looks to me like Nussen's pursuit here just paying off. The 4th rider to join that group there. Behind them, though, there are gaps really starting
Pucker
to open.
and Van Elst look as though they've been distanced from this leading group. So it's looking like Jones, Osborne, Knudsen and Safrazadi. 4 riders on our screens moving clear. They're coming up onto Almeida and Hoyas, the 2 category 2 riders. And you can see 3 category 1 riders left back down the road.
And behind them, there's a stream of them. The debris behind, it's like a trail of breadcrumbs behind the riders at the moment. Yeah. And the gaps are starting to open in with Franklin Almeida at the moment. And you can just see really pushing. He wants to stay with Hoyos as they go over the top. Having company is key on the descent down, you can really make some pace as we see Pucker go through with Van Elst, 2 riders on the yellow bikes there. White just on the moment, just making the way up the climb here. We're looking at Hoyos. He just sees Van Plantero go through, in fact, over the top. But Sergio Hoyos looking smooth at the moment. Look at the focus there. Currently nighttime by the look of it. In Colombia, which would kind of make sense given what time it is, but looking very much like he is intent on following every wheel that he can, making the most of the riders coming through to take a little bit of inspiration, a little bit of a pace. He just passes Cassiano Medeiros at the moment, the 4th category rider from Brazil. And gotta say, South America, a bit of a hotbed for cycling at the moment. A little bit later on today, Emma and I are going to be putting words to the action to the UCI Mountain Bike Eliminator, which is coming from Sao Paulo.
I know.
That's available on various outlets, including the City Mountain Bike YouTube channel.
Looks good.
It's an amazing course. And of course, don't forget, we've had rounds of the XCE from Abu Dhabi and from by Wolfie's Bike Shop. In fact, some very memorable round from there as well. Who's going to be taking the win when we go to the World Championships in Abu Dhabi for esports? Well, this man could well be amongst those contenders. Stefan Van Elst. He's a rider who just, I mean, Mr. Consistency. Would that be a fair title?
Yeah. You could use that phrase.
Thank you. Don't elaborate much, will you?
Pino is on the bike in front of us, and Category 1 riders just going past him, and that's the Chase. The Chase group, in fact, it's probably the 2nd Chase group on the road, I think. So Van Elst, Plantero, Divert up there as well. But as we move up to the front of the Category 2 race field, these are the riders on the descent. They are on the descent of the Heritage Climb. It's a technical descent. We've said not just downhill, but uphill and some flats in it as well. You really got to keep your wits about you. As we watch the leaders in the Category 1 race, Jones, Osborne, Safrazadi and Knudsen, they go under the banner signifying the top of the Heritage Climb. 4 riders leading Category 1.
And you see the 4 riders on your screen are separated by 0.422 of a second. Less than half a second separating the top 4 riders. You can see that they put 1 minute 40 plus seconds in. 1 minute 43.828 separating Ollie Jones from Ivan Nuki. And as you can see, we still await the next riders to come over the top of the climb. Those gaps are big. They're going to be extended, I suspect, as we go over the top of the climb. Behind, do we have any more info?
We do. So the Chase group in Category 1, Jacobs, Pucker, Van Elst, Plantero, and Vert. Then Kaminsky and Millerstick also now over the top of the climb. So 11 riders over. Panizza coming through in 12th. So the chase is on, but those 4 riders are clear at the moment.
Now on to this Mr. X100, Cam Winfield, Ivan Nuki here in Category 2. They are leading down Downey. We've got All Ports jumped in with them as well from Category 3. He's going to be able to use that draft on the way down here. 65 kilometers an hour. Category 2 looking strong. Left-hand side of your screen. Category 4 right-hand side. These are the leaders on the road at the moment. They're already up and over the Canyon Oasis climb, which finished at 31.7k. The fastest time up there going to SS from West, from Zimiel, Roy, Canol, Zanaska, and Francis. Those are the leading riders in Category 4. They are currently at 33.2k, which means that they are heading along that flatter section before we go climbing up to the cliff sprint. Behind them, he is a little way behind. Category 2, Mr. X100 and Cam Winfield at the moment, with Ivan Nuki putting a little bit of a gap into Jonas Bjarhead and co. You can just see there at the back of that pack, the gap opens and closes. It opens and closes as they make the way in through here. We're about to drop off what feels like the edge of the world. It's just another flat and then descent step down as we come down to the very bottom of the Heritage Climb. We have got quite a long platform on this penultimate part before the drop, but then this drop is steep. 8.5%. It lets you pick up even more pace as you come down into this turn. It's a sweeping descent around this right-hand turn, and then it levels out again.
Well, 9 riders leading the Category 2 race. X100, Biarhead, Winfield, Heaney, all in the mix there. Luke Allport, interestingly, from Category 3, being caught by the group and hanging on in there. Well, why not? When the group catches you of 9 Category 2 riders and you're a Category 3 rider, hang on tight.
He's done a good job. He flagged he might do that up at the top of the descent. He's done that and stayed in. I'll tell you something, that shows you the experience of the rider, knowing that he needs to sit in and work with the group and make sure he stays in there. Now, all 4 sets of riders on your screen. Left-hand side at the top is the Category 1, Category 2, top right-hand side, Category 3, bottom left, and Category 4, right-hand side. And at the moment, you can just see that we've got a real mix of riders in there. Category 1, though, on the descent, your leading group, Michael Nussen, Saeed Safrazadi, along with Ollie Jones and Jason Osborne, a real who's who of riders on the way down that descent. He's going to take a cut across to Ben Lee here in Category 4. Ben currently riding and kicking on hard at the moment. Nicely in with this group. They are on this run up at 33.7k to the Cliff Sprint, which is just over the top on the plateau. You can see top right-hand side. And at the moment, there are plenty of kicks going in. James Mountier just in front, just stretching out. They're not the very leading group, but they are the biggest chasing group in Category 4 at the moment. And you can just see the work and the effort being put in by our riders. Now, right-hand side of your screen, Mr. X100, Cam Winfield, Maseka Mendakowicz, Jonas Bjarhead, and Co. They are the leading riders in Category 2. They're just coming in through past the waterfall here. They're heading in to the Canyon Oasis climb. So basically, that waterfall brings you the water down into the Oasis in the middle of the canyon, and then you climb up out of it.
Yay!
It's a climb named after exactly what you've got in front of you.
Well, that's what it says on the tin.
It does. This first little riser, though, going to be a very interesting part of this move. He's just kicking on at the moment here, and certainly looking like he's opening his legs up early on the run to the top. 31.7 is the summit of this climb. It's almost 2 steps. The first little step, it levels, and then it's another kick again to take you right the way up to the top. Putting the pressure on early puts everybody else under pressure early too. Are we going to see that gap open? Are we going to see riders shed here? When will the response come? At the top of this, there's another long flat stretch. Newquay, Heaney, Bjarhead, Downey, Coyston, all in this group, all chasing.
They are indeed all chasing and all working hard. Now, Newquay in that polka dot skin suit, right in the mix here, chasing Heaney at the moment. The climb is about to start. Will Newquay come to the fore? His climbing, he's really been working on it. He's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, talking about strong, the 4 riders leading the Category 1 race at the moment. Jones, Osborne, Knudsen and Safrazadi, really, really strong. Now, let me just go back to something we were talking about earlier. Last week, the endurance climb. Category 1, it was Jason Osborne who took the win. And let's be realistic, he rode away from the rest of the field. His finishing time, 1 hour, 40 minutes, 37 seconds. The spread of time over the top 5 was 6 minutes, 17 seconds. I was going to say the biggest spread, but not quite. His finish time was 16 minutes faster than Bjarhead's Category 2 winning time. Bjarhead finishing in 1 hour 56 minutes. There was a spread of 1 minute 17. It was a close race in Category 2. Bjarhead finished 10 minutes ahead of Batty in Category 3, 2 hours and 6, who finished 11 minutes ahead of SS in Category 4, 2 hours and 17. So you can see the difference in the categories, and you can see the different times it took for the winning times in that race last week. 3 hours 29 was the last rider over the line.
A big, big day out on the bike. Every day is a big day when you're on the MyWhoosh Sunday Race Club, but some of them are longer than others. And at the moment, today's is going to be a quick one, but a tough one, because the climb is taking its toll time and time again on the Heritage Climb. then the Canyon Oasis climb. This is the second of the 3 climbs. Nuki in the polka dot skin suit of the fastest climber in the first climb goes over the top to maximize his points here, trying to get the fastest time once again. It was Spratt who was holding top position from category 3. Nicholas Spratt holding up from Diedutch and Van Welligen. However, Nuki, Koistonen, Bert Kane, Heaney, Bjarhead, Winfield, and Dakowitz and Downey all go over faster than Spratt. They've opened the gap up on Mr. X100, who's been, I think the power of that sudden injection of pace, just doing a little bit of damage there. But we know anything, I think he will come back.
Well, Andrew Downey actually just not going over the line with the group. So 7 riders, Downey just off the bat, but only just. I imagine he potentially could come back on because there's a large group of riders. But Jason Osborne currently leading the Category 1 race. X100 is here. He's 18 seconds back, so he has indeed been dropped from the group. And he's a bit in no man's land at the moment because he's 17 seconds down on the leading group in Category 1. Well, no, actually, let's rephrase this. He's 22 seconds down on the leading group because Downey is indeed 5 seconds off the back. He hasn't been able to get back on to that leading group of 7. So the 9 riders became 8 as X100 went off the back. Downey now off the back. So in Category 2, it's now a leading group of 7. Well, a little bit further up the road, our Category 3 and Category 4 races continue the charge towards the finish. Category 4 are at 37.8 kilometres. They are the leaders on the road at the moment. They were out of the start pen first today, 5 minutes before Category 3. There was then a 10-minute gap between Category 3 and Category 2, and then a further 5-minute gap between Category 2 and Category 1. So Category 4 started 20 minutes before our last group out of the pens, and you can see the riders saying that, oh, I'm a little bit tired now, my battery's run down. Well, are they bluffing, or is it the truth?
It's a great way to bluff, isn't it? Because one of the things you can't do, of course, unless you are in our World Championship finals, is see your opposition's face, see what they're up to, see how much they're suffering. And that's going to be possible, of course, because the World Championship finals in Abu Dhabi will see all of the top men and women in those finals together in the same place.
This is interesting.
Turbo Traders. It is interesting because we have got a move being made off the front by Nicholas Spratt in Category 3. He was the fastest rider up the penultimate climb, up the Oasis Canyon climb. However, has he got enough in his legs to stay clear? Because the chase behind is not that far. It isn't a decisive distance yet. They are just behind, and they can't afford to hang around because 9 seconds behind the chasers is Mr. X100, who is chasing as well.
It is indeed. It's chase after chase after chase. And it is like that in every single category at the moment. Category 2, absolutely motoring at the moment. And you know what? X100 is reeling them back in. So interesting to see X100 really motoring and using that time trialing ability to bring the chase group back. But if you look at the bottom left-hand side of the screen, take a look at that line of riders. They are spread back down the climb.
They are indeed now. Say up the road being chased by the rest of Category 1. Nick Scolari and Sad Carradine, well, they're chasing the leaders in Category 2. They've got Ross Fawcett, the next target, in front at 18 seconds in front of them. Sad Carradine with Scolari in front out of the sun. You can see his avatar matching him. Is actual real-life person out of the saddle. He's kicking down on those pedals, and you can see the power he's putting down through the bike on his run towards line. He's putting a big effort in here. He's going to come through. I think this is going to be a quick time, through the climb there. He hasn't done enough to challenge the very top of the leaderboard, which is Nuzzin, Jones, Osborne, and Safra. The Category 1 riders going through there. Interestingly, only And it is only 13 seconds quicker than the fastest Category 2 rider.
Well, let's just remember what's happening in each of these races at the moment. 4 riders clearing Category 1 with a good gap. We saw 9 riders, then 8 riders, then 7 riders with a chaser in Category 2. So the race is more alive at this particular point in time in Category 2. And I think that's why the times are much closer than we might expect.
Yep.
It's also
disagree.
only a 1.6 kilometre climb.
Yes, but it's steep. It's harsh, and it comes after that heritage climb and after a long run down. Now, just seeing the riders make their way in through the last sprint. This is our cliff sprint at the moment. The fastest time on the cliff sprint, the last check I had was Simon Cox, who had kicked out an average, wait for this, 644 watts, 7.4 watts per kilo, going through there to take the fastest time of 22.619 seconds. That is a big, big, big sprint at what is 35k into the race. Now, Mr. X100 comes through with a third fastest time through that sprint. That is a big result, and it shows how hard he's chasing, because that wasn't a sprint by Mr. X100. That is just pure pursuit of the riders in front. That's how hard he's working to get back.
There are other riders doing exactly the same thing as X100, because I can tell you, the Canyon Oasis climb, Michael Knudsen had set the fastest time, but no longer. Hayden Pucker and Stefan van Elst have taken the top 2 spots because they are chasing the leading group in Category 1, similar to X100 chasing the leading group in Category 2.
So this is all about getting into position, trying to be in position. Key position is in contention at the base of the Nabatean cave climb. This critical crunch point, the crux of this race route, is between the 41.4k marker and the 43.8k mark. The riders in Category 4 are hitting that now. They have just hit the base of the final climb, the Nabatean cave climb. They know that at 43.8k, they will be cresting this climb, this subterranean climb, as they go into the Nabatean cave system. When they come out at the top, they will have 1.4k to go. That is going to be absolutely critical. 1.2k, sorry, to go to the finish. It's the crux of the course. Let's give you a reminder. We're going to have a look at that in a second, just to show you exactly why this is the critical point and why Emma loves the phrase so much of you have to treat the top of the climb
like the finish.
Let's have a look. Okay, course profile for the Alula Heritage Climb. As we run through, flat and bumpy, flat and bumpy, flat and bumpy, big climb, really difficult, lots of technical downhill, nasty climb of the Canyon Oasis climb, keeps climbing up over the sprint, drop down, last red section on the right-hand side. That was a quick fast forward. 41.4k, if only it was that easy. There is a little dip into it, but steep start to this climb. Little step, another steeper step, eases, another steep step, and then it continues to the top, and then it's 1.2k of
flat.
Zero. Nothing.
Exactly.
Nada.
But you've got to get to the top of the climb with the leaders, or you need to be the leader to transition onto that flat section. Pretty much, there's 2 checkered flags at the moment on this race for all of our categories. The top of the Nabatean cave climb, and then the finish line.
And when we get to the top, that run to the line, if you're solo, you have a good chance of staying away. We have seen people caught. We have seen people brought back, but it is difficult now. We're on the run up here, this climb. You've got the leaders in category 4 at the moment on the climb in the cave, making the way up there. They're at 42.1k. Category 3, you can see that this group are on the way into the climb. Category 2 are chasing the leaders, leading group at the moment, and not far away from the climb as well. And Category 1 are on their way. The leading group in Category 1 currently at, it's going to be 35.1k through the cliff sprint at the moment. Osborne and Knudsen with Jones and Safasadi in the mix, but Simon Cox's time not troubled at the top.
Wow.
That big sprint from him really showing that is what he was targeting.
Well, definitely. Cox has targeted all the sprints today from Category 4, and he's been rewarded with a number of them. 22.619, the fastest time through the cliff sprint. Olivier Simmons from Category 2. Well, 1.5 seconds back from Cox. Osborne, Knudsen, they're in there, but they were just motoring. Ben Kirk from Category 3. Al Case, Jones Safrazadi, X100, and Khan Ken rounding out the top 10. A real mix of all four categories, and a lot of that is about what is going on in the racing, not who is sprinting.
Great snapshot on the riders, a great snapshot on what is happening in the race. It shows us who's chasing Mr. X100, getting that fast time. We saw him go through that sprint, picking up the third fastest time at the time in real time through that section when he went through it, because he was in pursuit of the group in front. He's now only 3 seconds off the wheel of Burke Cairn. He's got Bjarhead, Heaney, Winfield, Coyston all in that group in front. He should make contact on this flat section at the moment. That's on the right-hand side of your screen. Left-hand side of your screen, the gap that was there during the sprint has continued onwards with Ollie Jones and Jason Osborne just clear. Saeed Safrazadi and Michael Knudsen, the gap, it is fractions of a second, but every little bit counts. Remember, when you're traveling at 50k an hour, 60k an hour, 1 second is 100 meters. It's enough. It's enough to break the draft.
Well, breaking the draft, well, that is the important bit about getting away. And interestingly, who is getting away and who isn't? Well, Ollie Jones and Jason Osborne putting in a push here on the descent, keeping the pace really, really high. Safrazadi and Knudsen, well, it's Knudsen who is being dropped. So Jones, Safrazadi and Osborne pushing on here. Knudsen is the rider in trouble at the moment in Category 1. As X100 makes contact in Category 2 to the back of the leading group, but they are about to run literally within 1,000 meters into the base of the final climb.
And off the front of the group, Andrew Downey has 6 seconds in the lead of Category 2. So escapee at the front of the group. So as Mr. X100 makes contact at the back of the group, we have one sole leader who has escaped. And that's how escapees sometimes stay clear. As everybody's watching the riders coming on at the back and who's just joining, somebody pings off the front and that puts the group in trouble. Let's see what happens. We're going to watch them coming in to the finish. Here are your 4 race reels. Category 1, top left. Category 2, top right. Category 3, bottom left. Category 4, bottom right-hand side. And they are nearly at the top of the Nabatean Cave Climb. They've got this tight right-hand turn to go in Category 4. And the gaps of Oban Francis is now 17 seconds down. He is out of the picture. He is gone in Category 3. Looks like this chasing group has work to do. There are riders all over the place, and Henry Yates, he's a rider we've seen on this climb before, racing his way up here. He's very focused at the moment. You see him on the left-hand side. You can see concentrating on the screen at the moment. So Category 3 well into the climb. Category 2 on the way into it. Category 1 the furthest out from it. They have a way to go and still some descent. And then the flat section, it is a relatively flat section on the run into the Nabatean Cave Climb. It's tarmac, then it goes back to sand, and then we go into the cave. But that is going to be tough stuff for the riders. So, Saeed Safrazadi, left-hand side of your screen in the leading group of 3. One chaser having been dropped as they came over from the cliff sprint down into this rundown into towards the Nabatean Cave Climb. That was Michael Knudsen. He's on his own. Category 2, right-hand side of your screen. You've got the group heading into the climb and just looking. And then, yeah, we still got Downey up the road. 9 seconds the gap to Andrew Downey, your race leader at the moment in Category 2. He's the man who's got the gap. Downey out of the saddle here, kicking on down 67, 68, 69 reps per minute. He's out of that saddle, stamping on the pedals. He's got the gap. He will want to maintain it over the top. Over the top is critical. Right-hand side of the screen, Category 4 have 7 700 meters to go. 700 meters to go. And we've got a group of 6 riders in the mix. Connell, Zanaska, Roy, West, Zimiel, and SS with a 33-second gap back. Now, who will twitch first? Who will blink? Who is going to go for this? Here we go. Are they going to go for it?
Well, it's a really good question, isn't it? And Zanaska's on the front with West and Connell and Roy. SS and Zimiel are there. They're running into the finish, Matt.
It's about power. It's about timing the batteries round that right-hand turn. It's going to come really quick. 300 meters to go. When is the power going to go down? It's 0%. Somebody has got to choose their moment correctly. I think it's who goes first. And Roy went at 9.5 watts per kilo there. He's been chased, though, by West, who's on his wheel at 14 watts per kilo. West at the front with the yellow bandana starts to open the gap on Roy with that white helmet behind him. And Alex West has found a sprint from somewhere. Alex West takes victory in Category 4 on Qualifier Race 3 on the Sunday Race Club. What a sprint. What timing. He kicked his way in and through the line. All of that leading group coming through. Can you run us through the top there, Emma?
Yes, Alex West takes the win from Justin Roy. 0.8 of a second back. Tim Connell in 2.84 of a second back. Zimiel, Zanaska, SS. That is the top 6.
What a run for the line. Roy opened it up. He put the gas on. He couldn't hold off West, who came behind him. The level up racing man taking victory from his teammate there in Category 4. The polka dot skin suit going to SS, and the riders will be continuing to come in to the finish in Category 4 for a little while yet. Category 3, 2 and 1 still out on the road at the moment. Category 3 are over the top, and guess what? It's another small group. Yeah. It's another sprint. And when will we see the kick? We are on 500 meters to go. Veles, Caro, Van Wellegem, Didush. I think it's going to go early. It's already starting to wind up here. There's the riders trying to stay in contention. Spratt, the man who had a gap, has been pulled back in. And now they're starting to wind up. They don't want to go too early. They don't want to go too late. They don't want to put the power in and then fade at the line. You can see it's lifting. Van Wellegem over 8, now goes to 12 watts per kilo. Didush is matching him almost watt for watt, though, as they come in. Didush at the moment in the polka dot skin suit. Van Wellegem in the UAE white jersey on his way towards the line. Didush holding them off. Didush holds them to the line. What a run.
It was a phenomenal sprint. So Andrei Didush takes the win in 1 hour 16.24 seconds, 0.9 of a second back Van Wellegem. Veles wow. Veles is there as well. So is Caro and Kansara. Spratt in 6th. Lewis Ridley in 7th. That is Category 3.
And we're now back in with Category 2 on the climb. Remember, Downey came in with a 9-second gap, if I remember correctly. Though it's not all that long ago, but there's been a lot of riders been busy since then. The moment the gap is still there at the front of the race, but it's come down. It is visible on your screens. You can see this amazing camera shot looking great, but who's going to take it over the climb?
Well, pushing on at the moment, Andrew Downey still 2 seconds clear of the group, but you can see the group. They're on a charge, heading past Peter Connell. They've headed past Peter Connell. They're heading past Van der Zandt as the moment as well. And this group all together now onto Downey's wheel on the right-hand side of your screen. On the left-hand side of your screen, well, they're 1.3 kilometres behind, and it's Safra, Zadie, Jones and Osborne. They've dropped Knudsen, so what was a group of 4 in Category 1, now a group of 3. Well, on the right-hand side of your screen, it's Ivan Nuki. He's in that polka dot skin suit for a reason, and that's because he's the best climber today so far in Category 2, and he's come to the front of the group. Tatu Koinstinen now pushing on and closing him down because, well, you don't want to let Nuki go at this point, because when you get to the top of the climb, there's a 1.2 kilometre flat run to the finish. Category 2 is looking like it's going to come to a sprint as well. But 8 riders this time, Matt, in that leading group.
And the top of this climb, it's like an elimination race. Just been introduced to my MyWhoosh
Yeah.
in the velodrome in the world in Zurich. And if you are eliminated, if you're the last rider in this group and that gap opens, you are in trouble. You are going to find yourself eliminated from contention for the finish. And we may well be seeing that behind here. Nuki went hard there, Emma.
Well, Yuki's went hard, but there's a gap map. Then Dakowitz, Winfield, Bjarhead, and Heaney. Then there's a gap to Nuki and another gap to Downey and then another gap to X100. So what was 7 riders looks like it's 4 up front and then riders spattered across the road.
And they're going to have to get back quick. Mr. X100 chasing Downey, chasing Nuki, chasing the group. They're going to have to get back in. Nuki makes contact as we're just going to jump across. This is the cave climb. This is the leading group of riders. You've got Said Safrazadi, you've got Jason Osborne and Ollie Jones. Jones wearing the polka dot skin suit. And then you have got your 2 riders around here. Jason Osborne, the winner last week, a regular winner. Said Safrazadi, a regular podium rider on the way up. But this is back in with category 2. Mr. X100 is trying to get back in touch to be in with a chance in the sprint. The leading group are just easing off to give themselves a run to the line to save something for the sprint, and it's playing into the hands of the chasers behind because I think everybody has come back together again here. Mr. X100 in the distance behind. I think he's just going to miss out on making contact as the sprint starts to wind up on the front here. We're seeing Tattoo Cloyston going at 11 watts per kilo. Burt Kane putting 14 watts per kilo down at the moment. They are chasing Mendakowicz, though, who got the jump on everybody. Mendakowicz from Bjarhead at the moment in category 2. Maciej Mendakowicz, he hits this course, he hits the front and he hits the winning spot.
Well, he does, and just Bjarhead behind. Interesting racing there. So Maciej Mendakowicz in 1, Jonas Bjarhead in 2, 0.176 of a second behind Cam Winfield, 1.6 seconds back in 3rd. Then Tattoo Coiston and Burt Kane for 5th. Andrew Downey and Alex Heaney miss out.
Well, unlucky if you haven't made it in to the finish. Our riders in category 1 we've just seen are now split. There are 3 riders split apart in category 1. They're coming up on the back wheel of Al Case. Jason Osborne is the leading rider. The last time gap behind Osborne was about 4 seconds behind Osborne. 2 of the riders behind. The rest of the riders in categories 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all out and round the course. But category 1 over the top of the climb with breaks in that group. Osborne leading at the moment. Safrazadi in trouble. Jones in the mix at the moment, but Jason Osborne now comes in. He's 700 meters to go. We're looking for the Tiger. I think he surely is securing this, Emma.
Well, he's securing it, he is, because he's not backed off the pace from the climb. So he's gone up and over the climb. He's put the gap into the group of 3. He's dropped Jones and Safrazadi, and he's just continuing to motor now and motor towards the finish. He's got this long, last straight section before he takes the right-hand bend to the finish line. Well, around 350 meters, Matt, till he sees that banner.
And Jason Osborne has only got one focus: get to the UCI banner. Remember the UCI World Championships on MyWhoosh in October. This man is putting himself in a hot seat there. He's got to be one of the favourites as he comes in towards the line. He continues to push. He knows he wants to get everything out of the session here today. Jason Osborne, the Olympian, the winner of the Sunday Race Club qualifier race number 3 in category 1. Behind him, her battle is on for 2nd and 3rd place. Said Safrazadi and Ollie Jones are battling it out between each other as they try and get to the line. Said Safrazadi just in front of Jones as they come in. It's 10 meters that separates them, but 10 meters is enough for Safrazadi to take 2nd and Ollie Jones to take 3rd.
Well, take 3rd indeed he does. Knudsen is the rider in 4th. He's got around 400 meters to go now, but the chase is on behind because Van Elst and Pucker and Plantero, well, they are coming. They're around 10 seconds back, and that is going to be the fight for 5th place today. 5 places on the podium, and we're going to see Knudsen come through for 4th. Van Elst, well, he is battling it out behind.
What a race. We've seen riders get scattered around the hills of Alula, from the Heritage Climb to the Canyon Oasis Climb and to the Nabatean Cave Climb, as Ibrahim Arafrai makes his way in towards the race finish here. It's going to be one more dig for him as he comes in underneath the banner he goes. He's going to come in ahead of Stefan van Elsterman. He's going to take a move behind. You can see the effort and the congratulations going to Arafrai. Great to see our riders when they finish their effort there, the support that they get across all of our race fields, with a category 1 to category 4.
I agree. So the overall race standings today, Jason Osborne takes the win in 1 hour, 7 minutes, 23 seconds. Not the fastest race time on this course. That's held by Lionel Vuyasin. Syed Safar is 17 seconds back in second place. Ollie Jones in third. Michael Knudsen takes fourth. Stefan van Els coming through for fifth. In category 2, it was indeed Mendakowitz who took the win from Bjarhead, from Winfield, from Koisinen and Caen. Category 3, we saw Diduch come through from Van Veligen, Velez, Caro, Kansara and Spratt. And in category 4, it was Alex West from Roy, Connell, Zimmel and Zanaska.
So don't forget, you can catch up with all the results as they come in on the MyWhoosh.com website, the results live as we speak at the moment. And of course, will be subject to verification, which happens to all of our riders in all of our race categories, from category 1 to category 4. Jump on to MyWhoosh, download the app. Don't forget, whilst you're on the computer and you're online, make sure that you follow at MyWhoosh on Facebook and on Instagram. You can follow me, it's at Matt Fixpain, please do. Please give Emma a follow. It is at biking_Emma on Instagram. We love to hear from you, what you're up to. Remember, Emma particularly loves those pictures of your pain cave and where you are in the world, where and when you are riding. Give us a follow, give us a subscribe. If you're already a subscriber or a follower, tell somebody else to do it as well. We really do appreciate it. It does help us and all of the team at MyWhoosh. A massive thank you to the team for bringing us the brand new 3.8.0 version of MyWhoosh, the team who bring you all of the shows behind the scenes. It's a big, big thank you from me.
And from me.
So from Emma and myself, it is time for you guys to get yourselves ready. I know the team behind the scenes have already been planning what they're up to for our finals next week, where we have our team competition. Join myself, Emma, and all of the team there. But for now, stay safe. We'll see you again soon.
Goodbye.